Hi, everybody. So today I'm coming on an additional time this week because there is something that I really want to share with you guys. And I think it's important that we go ahead and knock it out now other than, waiting because this is going to happen. What's going to happen in your coaching career is you'll have a client who decides they do not want to continue their service. And it might be in the middle of your program. It might be at the beginning of the program, the end of the program, but it will happen at some point that you will sign on a client who's like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. First, there's a few reasons why clients decide that they aren't interested anymore. Sometimes clients don't have the mental and emotional fortitude to push on into their transformation. And coaching does dig up some things. It asks you to take you where you are to go forward. But when you're taking somebody forward, sometimes they have to look at some things in the back and fix those things with a counselor so they can fully go forward. Okay. So sometimes you might like rustle up some old feelings. You might accidentally trigger the client. And it's up to the client to say, stop, I don't want to go there. However, it happens. So sometimes clients don't have the emotional fortitude to go forward in their transformation. They feel like it's an emotionally too hard. Other times, especially if it's in your program, they might get stuck in a particular part of the program and be too afraid to stand up and say, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. So naturally, every session you give your clients some homework to do. And if they get stuck on the homework, they might get quiet. They might start missing meetings. They might start to cancel or can habitually reschedule one-on-one appointments. Either way, there'll be a shift in your interaction where they start to draw back. Okay. And then the last reason, and it's usually the most unlikely reason, is they really didn't want to participate in the first place. And this is pretty easy to avoid. Though you want to encourage your lead to take steps into their transformation, you never want to really force them to do anything they don't want to do. And it's a fine line in sales between heavily encouraging them and letting them know, listen, the route you're going is not going to work. I have the answer for you. Let's work it out. And saying, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to force you into making this decision. Okay. They need to decide that this is the right step with you. Okay. So you can avoid that situation in which the client is like, I didn't want to participate in the first place. And all that happens is all of that activity will be the groundwork for that will be laid out during the sales process. So now we're just really focusing on two situations. They're either not emotionally prepared or they don't have enough strength to emotionally go forward in their transformation, or they get stuck. What do you do? The first thing you do, and as callous as this sounds, but it's so very true, is the first thing you want to do is you want to reach out, you want to look at your agreement. The first moment you notice that your client is getting stuck and they're getting quiet and they don't really want to participate is you need to look at your agreement. It's not sexy to say it, right? But you want to look at your agreement to make sure that your agreement states that they have to continue to pay regardless if they quit the program or not. The amount that you agreed upon is the amount. And you offer them a payment plan so that they can afford to participate at their financial level. Just because they say, I don't want to participate anymore, doesn't mean the payments should stop. It just means that, okay, you're quitting on yourself, but you still have to pay me the fee that we discussed. My time is still worth it. Okay. So you need to look at your agreement to make sure that the agreement states that they have to continue to pay. The second thing you want to do is contact them. email them, make a phone call, text. I would definitely email them first to say, hey, how are you? We missed you. Are you okay? You're being a human being, you want to make sure that person's okay. But you also want to document that you did reach out. Because if you're ever in a court of law or you're ever being sued, God forbid, you want to make sure that you've documented all of your efforts to help your client overcome what they're overcoming, or to help them re-engage in the program before you just, they chose to cut ties. Like, listen, I made efforts to re-engage them and they didn't participate. You can't control what they do, but you can be there to re-engage them and check on their well-being and get them involved again. Another thing you can do after you send the email is make a phone call. Give it a day or so and make a phone call. Hey, I'm just calling to see how you're doing. I noticed you missed, the group coaching session, or I noticed you're rescheduling our one-on-one appointments. I just want to make sure you're okay. If you're stuck, say something. Don't just sit there being stuck. I'm here to help you. That's what this process is about. It's normal if you feel stuck. If you feel discouraged, it's normal to feel discouraged. This is the time when working with me is really going to help you out so we can get over this hurdle and you can move forward. Either way, you definitely, definitely, definitely want to reach out to them. Now, this is going to be really important for those clients who are getting your one-on-one time or your group time. Okay, so your live clients, your one-on-one clients, your lead clients, yes, phone calls are appropriate. If you have on-demand clients, because the on-demand atmosphere is self-paced, you really don't have to email them. You can set up an automation, re-engagement automation, either through your learning platform or through your email platform like ActiveCampaign or ActiveCampaign. I'm thinking of the other one, but I can't think of the name. Or ActiveCampaign that will re-engage them if they become inactive after a couple of weeks. So say 2 weeks go by, there's no activity, you can have an email sent out to re-engage them, to say, hello, you haven't, and you're not going to phrase it this way, but hey, you haven't participated or you haven't been active in the program, jump back in and let's continue. Okay. That's if you have on-demand clients or even students in your other online classes, your smaller online classes, having a re-engagement email just to remind them like, hey, we're still here. Go ahead and continue your journey. But if you have live one-on-one or elite clients, they're getting your time. So you want to give them your time in kind. You want to go ahead and make that phone call to touch bases and let them know that you do care and you want them to re-engage. And coaching is definitely something that's going to help them get through this block. If they have a medical issue or it depends. If they're your one of your one-on-one clients or your elite clients, you may be able to say, hey, why don't we get back together in a month and adjust their plan a little bit so they can get back on track after they've dealt with their medical issue or if they've come to some form of stability. Or you could say, listen, if you drop out right now, you're going to have to repay. However, I suggest the former, that you give them a little time. I wouldn't say any more than a month, 3 weeks to a month, but you give them a little time and then say, hey, let's reconvene on X, Y, and Z date and pick up where we left off so we can continue. What about that? Regardless of what you do, at some point when it's clear that this person's not going to come back, they might tell you, I'm not coming back, or they just may disappear for a number of weeks. You want to remind them that, hey, we need to talk about your re-engagement because legally you're bound to continue to pay for this service even if you don't participate. So why don't we get the most out of it? Why don't we get the most out of your service? Okay. So at the end of the day, it sounds callous to continue to remind them gently that, hey, you're under contract, because nobody wants to be the person to say, hey, you still owe me if you don't come. But you have to pay your bills too. You have a family, you got mortgage, you got a car note, you got to eat. And when you own your own business, at the end of the day, you are paying your bills when your clients pay you. So you don't have an employer constantly giving you a check every 2 weeks, regardless if you come or not, or that's the military, but you're getting a check every 2 weeks and you're using sick time or what have you. You have to do that yourself. So you do need to gently remind them that, hey, you're under contract still, you know, you're still paying regardless. Why don't we find a way for you to participate or re-engage in the program that we started so that you can get the benefit that you paid for? I hope that helps. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And we are going to launch Business Launch Prep School, the fall cohort, in 2 weeks on September 2nd. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. for 3 months, I'll be working with the fall cohort so we can build their businesses, build their new coaching practices. In Business Launch Prep School, we talk about target audience. We really nail that down. We create a strong program that actually renders results. We do sales. We do sales role playing. We talk about scripts. We talk about overcoming objections, pre qualification. We also discuss pre onboarding, onboarding, offboarding, and all those wonderful things. And then we dive into visual branding so that people can actually start to recognize who you are and what your brand represents. And we integrate God into the whole process. So, if you are interested in building your coaching practice with help and you're ready to make that investment in yourself and your business so you can get through that part with guidance instead of taking 1 to 2 years to figure it out on your own, make sure you go ahead and participate. Okay. I'm going to put the link in the comments below so that you can click on it and apply. But guess what? As a new coach, you don't need to do pro bono if you don't want to. You don't need to ask for like $65 an hour. Nay, nay. What you need to do is go out there and look for your 4 and 5 figure clients who will pay you for your time, for your experience, for the transformation that they're looking for. Okay. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments below and I will answer them. You have a good day.